Thank you so much, JC. Thank you for that kind introduction, my brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you would come off of mute, and I'm going to start the affirmations and you repeat it after me, and we're going to have a great session. Number one, I am a powerful solar professional.
I am a
powerful solar professional.
I do business morally and ethically.
I
do business morally and ethically.
I am successful, intelligent, and confident.
I am
successful,
intelligent, and confident.
I do not depend on luck or unrealistic possibilities.
I do not depend on luck or realistic possibilities.
I am making a positive impact in the world and in the lives of others.
I am making a positive impact in the world and in the lives of others.
I radiate with confidence and people feel that.
I radiate with confidence and people feel that.
I am building a renewable energy empire.
I am building a
renewable energy empire.
Therefore, money comes easily and frequently and in increasing quantities.
Therefore, money comes easily and frequently in quantities.
All right, great job. Give yourselves a hand. All right, it's going to be a good one.
Let's go.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Let's go, brother.
I love it. This is going to be an interactive training. So I'm going to go back and forth with some of you if you'd like. For now, stay on mute. And we can also do chats as well. I'll be looking at the chat and I'll be calling on people. Let me get that chat box real quick. And that way I can keep track of what you guys are saying. Awesome. Can everyone, I'm not sharing my screen, so no one's probably going to be able to see it. All righty. And if you can see my screen, drop me a 1 in the comment section, please. 1? Cool. All right. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Ramsey Clark. I'm a tier 3 mentor out of Orlando, Florida. I've been on the Powur platform for about 2 years. I should probably use this slide. I've been in solar for about 2 years. I'm a tier 3 mentor. I also sell in California. I had 0 sales experience prior to coming to solar. So my story is I'm a musician. I toured the world for over 10 years. It was great. I loved what I did. I still do it to this day. And then solar came into my life and it just brought me back to where I needed to be. I was living this lifestyle of, of just, it was a bubble. It wasn't reality, right? It's not going to last forever. So I had to come back and think, well, what am I going to do? And I didn't really know what to do because I'd never really had a real job, right? I've been performing and singing overseas and I didn't really have my big boy pants on, I guess. So I had to come back to the States and actually solidify myself and turn into the man that I needed to be, right? So the opportunity was solar with my brother, got into it. This has changed my life. One of the books that I picked up when I first got into self-development and solar was this one called Never Split the Difference. And this is the book that I'm going to be talking about today. And I want to make it very clear that I am not a certified person that works for this company. I am just going to talk about anecdotal things that have helped me in my career in solar in this time and how it's allowed me to better establish positive relationships of collaboration and better understanding and tactical empathy. And I'll go into that in a little bit as to how we can be better problem solvers, problem finders, and better listeners, right? And how to make people understand that we are paying attention and what to say back to them, when to say it, and how to say it so that they can trust us more and not be as triggered by their amygdala, which is that fight or flight response. So those are the things that we're going to kind of talk on. And again, this is going to be interactive, so we can do a little role playing, and I want to test out a few of these theories, and I'm learning with you. So we're doing this together, and I appreciate you being here and your full attention. If there's any questions, drop it in the chat. You can even come off mute because we're getting wild today. So number 1, let's start with what the Black Swan method is. Again, the Black Swan was written by Christopher Voss. I'll have some information at the end if you want to check out the book. I highly recommend buying this book. Changed my life. And what it is, it's a tool that can help you in all of areas of your life, including your family, your friend, your business. I literally use it every day. I used it last night with my partner, Annie. Some of you may know Annie. Whenever I mess up, because I do a lot, and she gets upset at me, by simply repeating what she's upset about and empathizing and putting myself in her shoes and doing what's called a label, that's diffusing her amygdala and her fight or flight response, right? So that's her stress hormones. When we're angry, we don't think as clearly. We're not as smart, and this is scientifically proven. So what we want to do is we want to get to the point to where we're having conversations to people where they know, like, and trust us. And the best way to do that is to have a person feel understood.
Is this my Blairberries?
All right. The important thing is to have them feel understood so that they can open up and share what's on their mind, because if they don't trust us, they're not going to let us know. Okay. So number one is a label. Anyone in here know about the Black Swan method? Has anyone followed Black Swan? Write a 1 if you have. If this is the first time you've heard of Black Swan, drop a 2 in the comment section. If you know about Black Swan, 1. If you don't, 2. Okay. Just to kind of feel the crowd. All right, because it's a lot. So this is going to be a brief introduction to the main concepts of it. It's not going to be an in-depth analysis. I'm still learning myself. Thank you guys for letting me know. I appreciate that. This is going to help me cater it, because this is kind of off the cuff too. This is, like I said, it's going to be interactive. It's going to be fun. Okay, so it seems like most of you are relatively new to the Black Swan method of negotiation. Great. So again, a label is something that's going to identify an emotion or a sentiment that you believe is evident in either a negotiation, a conversation, but it hasn't been verbally expressed. So this is what makes it such a powerful tool. Because if someone's body language is like this, what does this normally mean? Drop it in the comments. If I'm looking like this, right? Just offhand, body language wise, I'm closed, I'm blocked. I don't want to talk to you. You know, I'm protecting my vital organs. Stand up. So whenever I'm like this, I'm closed off, right? What we want to do is we want to learn to open people up. So the analogy that I give is that a label is like opening someone up emotionally. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is say what they're feeling, not what they're saying, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say you can use, it sounds like, it seems like, it looks like. Now, can anyone tell me why I want to use the word it before all of these statements? Anyone take a guess? What is it about the word it that makes it so powerful? It's non-threatening. You're not being judgmental. Removes them from the problem. It's neutral. Opens the floor. All of these are excellent. Listening, correct. So it is the most neutral word in the language, in our English language. It is being neutral, right? So if I were to say, you know, it sounds like you're really upset. If the person is not upset, you can't plant a negative with a label. If they're not upset, they're most likely going to say, I'm not upset at all. I feel great. So what are they doing? They're opening up and they're giving you more information based off of an observation that you made, because now they understand that you paid enough attention to them to make an observation. And naturally, as human beings, we like to correct people, right? If someone says, hey, your name is, where is it? Let me pick on someone. Let's have fun. All right, let's get crazy. Anthony Bonilla. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Putting the little one to sleep here.
Oh, okay. Let me pick someone else. I'm sorry. Let's choose Isabel. You want to play?
Sure.
Okay. Isabel, if I were to say, hey, Isabel, you spell your name Issabel, right?
No,
You don't spell it? How do you
no,
spell it?
it's Isabel. One
Okay.
S.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome. So right there, we naturally instinctively have a desire to correct, right? Whether it be
Mhm.
for right or for wrong, whatever it may be, we want to correct because it gives us a balance in our minds, essentially. So whenever I would say, Isabel, it sounds like you're having a good day. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I am actually.
You are?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what's been going on. Give me some feedback.
Well, I'm just actually just getting started, and I'm starting with a very good training. So it's a good day.
It's a good day?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I'm just doing is I'm listening to what she's saying. And right there, the first thing I told her is I said, it looks like you're having a pretty good day, right? So by me saying that it looks like and placing a label, what did Isabel do? What did you do, Isabel?
I agree. But
You
if it would
agree?
have been a bad day, I would have said, oh, actually, it's not a good day.
Correct. And what you
Mhm.
did was you gave me more information
Mhm.
without me actually asking a question, right? So by me making this label, it's a way for me to extract more information from the conversation that otherwise may have not been present. So that's
Mhm.
what we're doing with labels, is that we're using this to identify driving forces and dynamics in conversations and communication. So we want to utilize this when it comes to, for example, the solar industry. We want to label our way to agreement, okay? So they reinforce positives and common goals in business settings. But as I said earlier, I use this with my partner. Whenever she's feeling a bit upset with me, I'll say, Annie, it seems like you're kind of upset with me for X, Y, or Z. And she'll say, yeah, I am. By her just acknowledging me, saying that, okay, you're listening to what I'm saying, my amygdala goes like this. It diffuses it. So what happens when we diffuse our amygdala? That's a fight or flight response. That's our reptilian brain, right? That's our lower level of our brain. We're able to think more clearly because fear and anger actually make us less smart, right? Because we're going off of emotions and not logic. So when someone feels heard and understood, they're going to open up. Is that all kind of making sense, guys? Or is this just a bunch of mumbo jumbo? Yeah.
Making
If it makes
sense.
sense, leave me a 1. Give me a little validation and approval. All right. Thank you. Cool. So also, we want to label our barriers away, right? So labels help us dissolve and reduce negatives. So as Isabel said, if it wasn't what she was having, which was a good day, she would have told me, because we want to correct. We want to correct our course and our path. Okay. Let me give you another example. Labels are, like I said, labels are phrases like it sounds like, it seems like, it looks like, and they reinforce aspects of a conversation you want to highlight. So it seems like productivity is important to you, or to diffuse aspects of negotiation that are obstructing your deal, you could say something like this. It seems like you hate when your team can't get things done. It is the most neutral way that you can do that when you're making an observation. Now, you can also get into a use statement. So you is a little more direct. It's not as neutral, and everything has a time and a place, right? So this is the actual beauty of the Black Swan method, is that it's like a whole chess game. And once you start understanding it and practicing it in low level stakes. So for example, if you're at a grocery store and you see someone and they're having a good day, and you just walk up to them and say, hey, it looks like you're having a good day. Try it out. I kid you not. Try it out and see what happens. Do this as an experiment today. Talk to one random person, and I want you to label them with an it sounds like, it looks like, it feels like, and see where the conversation goes from there. That's your low level practice homework for today. And then I literally want all of you to message me, blow up my inbox, and let me know what happened. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that analysis, and I'm actually going to do some analysis and see like what the ratios are of the responses, because I think that's fun. So let's do this kind of group experiment together, if you will. Here's another example. Imagine the other side appears hesitant to get a seemingly solid deal done, right? Using a label, you might say, it seems as though you need to run this by other folks on your team. So what am I doing there? Is I'm empathizing with them. Right now, empathy doesn't mean that I feel what they feel. It doesn't mean that I agree with them. What empathy means is that I understand where the other person's coming from. And if I can understand where the other person is coming from, then they're going to trust me more, because they understand that I understand, if that makes sense. So labels are a way to acknowledge the other person's feelings and concerns and to demonstrate that you are actively listening and trying to understand their perspective. Okay. So for example, if a person's feeling frustrated or angry, you might say something like, it sounds like you're really frustrated right now. This can help diffuse their anger and their emotions and create a more positive conversation. So would anyone like to try a label? And you can just come off mute. It doesn't have to be of me exactly, but you just give me an idea of a label that you can use in your everyday life. You can drop it in the chat or you can come off mute.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
Did you slam the door or did the wind catch it?
That was the.
That was it. That was a different technique. Sorry.
That's okay. This is, dude, this is how we learn, brother. This is great.
It sounds like the door slammed. Are you upset or did the wind grab it?
Actually, I am a little bit
I would-
upset. Yeah.
About what?
Well, you didn't call me back yesterday, man.
I'm sorry about that. My schedule's really busy and I must have lost track of time.
Yeah, I know. It's always about you. I get it. So what happened there? So when you said, I'm sorry about that, you put the focus on you, right?
Yeah.
So whenever we're empathizing and we're listening to people, we want to keep the focus on them. So what you could, and that was great. Bravo. Sorry. I feel weird when I'm kind of mean to people. It's not me. So anyways, but we're acting and cut. So how you could have done it instead was been, what'd you say? You said, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Like the time got away from me.
You could have revolved it around me. You could have done what's called an accusation audit, and we'll get into this. An accusation audit is you're going to think I'm the worst friend ever. What was the first word that I said?
You.
So who's the focus on?
The other person.
So the other person is feeling heard. Their amygdala is calming down. Okay. Yeah. You were, you weren't that great of a friend. You didn't call me back. You're absolutely right. I'm going to come off as a horrible friend. And then shh. So that accusation right there, that's tactical empathy. That's empathizing with the other side. And that's going to diffuse 9 times out of 10 the situation. Okay. Not always, right? But this is a work in progress. A great job. Great job, brother.
I think I learned a negative skill in that communications course in college.
So it's interesting, right? Because
it was always begin with an apology so they let their guard down is what I was taught.
And that's not bad advice, right? Because when you're apologizing, and it depends what camp you're looking at it from, because some people say never apologize, right? And other people are like, no, start with an apology. And I like to have all these tools available, and I don't know all of them. I'm just learning little by little, and I'm excited to grow with other people and share the knowledge. Let's take them as tools, and let's just know when to apply them as opposed to if to apply them, right? Or if I should, because I think anything can be appropriate given the correct circumstance, right? So for example, let's say, let me try some. Jessica M. Can you come off mute for a second? Is it possible? Thank you so much, Dan.
Hello, friend.
Hi, friend. How was your day?
So far, so good.
So good. So far, so good.
Yes. Make it better, Ramsey.
Make it better. What made you happy today?
Breakfast.
Breakfast?
Yes. It was really good.
Really good?
Yes.
What was good about it?
It was perfect. It was very sad. It was oatmeal, but it was really good.
Wait. It was very sad, but it was perfect?
Yes, because oatmeal can be so bland. But if you prepare it right, it could be really good. So today was really good.
So it sounds like you're feeling pretty good. You had your oatmeal. It was bland, but it was perfectly bland because that's what you wanted. Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you. That's it. I just wanted to say what's up to you actually on the
Welcome.
So what I did there is that I'm going to go into what's called a mirror, right? And before I get into the mirror, let me just say a couple more things on this. One thing to be very, very cautious about. So this is what I just talked about with Dan. So Dan said, I've been busy. What we want to do is we want to avoid words like but, right? Because but is more of a erasing words. So anything that you say before but is going to be erased. So if I say, Jeanette, you're amazing. You're always there for me. You are an incredible writer. You're an amazing mother. And just, it's amazing to be in your presence when I see you in person and to work with you. But I got to be honest. What did I just do there?
You just negated everything. You
Just
just
negated
built up.
everything. So but is an erasing word. So be very careful. And this is what Christopher Voss's son says. What's his name? I should know this, but I don't. Anyways, complete transparency. We're growing together. Daniel Voss, he says, never put your butt in other people's faces. Right. And that kind of stuck with me. And I
Never put your butt in other people's faces.
Correct. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So, and it makes so much sense because I never thought about it before. As I was growing up, I would say, but, and I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last night. Great movie. Cried my eyes out. I was not expecting that emotional roller coaster. What was this? I was with all my friends and trying to like not let them see me cry, because I'm a man. Anyways, I digress. But there was a scene in the movie where they're talking about but, and the guys, the evil villain goes crazy. He's like, oh, but, that vile word. And then I started thinking about the Black Swan method. I'm like, wow, really? It does, it does negate everything. So just be careful with it. There's some times when you can use it. Just be aware. Also, and, or, because. The reason we want to avoid this, especially after we place a label right on someone, it sounds like you're going through a lot right now. But if you want, I can help you. I just broke their pattern, right? So in order for these things to work, you have to allow them time to assimilate. You have to allow the other person time to actually feel and understand what you're telling them. So it seems like you're upset and I can, you're cutting it off. So dynamic silence is crucial for these things. And this is something that I struggle with a lot because I like to talk. As you can see, I'm a yapper, right? I love speaking. I love the sound of my own voice. I'm a singer, literally, I picked the best profession, but I'm understanding. See, but what did I do there? So I was negatively speaking about myself and my skills and what I was doing, but I'm going to turn it to positive. So but can be used for positive as well. So all those negative things I just said, I'm erasing it with but. I'm getting better. I'm learning every day and I'm growing as a person, right? So be aware that you can use it that way. It, as I said, is the most neutral word. You is more engaging, right? So just be mindful of those. And again, look into this stuff. I'm just hitting on everything a little bit. I want to give you a few examples for the solar industry. It sounds like you're someone who values sustainability and reducing your carbon footprint. Most people are going to be like, yeah, like that makes sense. I am that type of person. And if they're not, they're going to tell you why, right? So either way, you're going to get information, right? You're collaborating. You're finding a better way to communicate, to shorten the sale cycle and process because there's more trust. Does this make sense, guys? Drop a 1 if this is all making sense.
Ramsey, it's great. This is great. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. All right. Number 2. So if you guys want to take a picture of this, this is why I left this here, just so you can implement these and start using this inside your conversations, right? And practice these, like memorize one and use it in one of your closings. Or if you're a mentee, just memorize it, text it to someone if you're having a conversation with them. All right. I get the sense that you're someone who cares about making informed decisions based on accurate information. Now, if we get into what's like known as DISC personality test, dominant, interpersonal, conscientious, steadiness, that's more of like an analytical person, right? So like an engineer, a C-type personality, don't show a lot of emotion. They're very structured, right? You can say something like that. And what that's going to do is it's going to light them up. It's going to light up their neural circuitry, right? They're going to get some feel-good hormones because they see themselves as a person who cares about making informed decisions because they're logical, right? So it really depends on what kind of person you're talking to and how to set these labels up. It seems like you're someone who values saving money in the long term, okay? You strike me as someone who is concerned about the impact of rising energy costs on your budget. And I'm not going to go through all of them if you want to take a picture because I know I'm running out of time. Let's get into mirrors. So a mirror it's very basic. You're going to repeat the last 1 to 3 words that your counterpart said using an inquisitive tone. So, Victor Lewis,
Yes, sir.
what's on the agenda for today, my brother?
What's on the agenda today is being educated on how to communicate properly with our potential client. That's what's on the agenda today.
With your potential client?
Oh, yeah, our solar client.
Your solar client?
Oh, oh, you're role playing with me. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not. This is, like I said, we're going into the twilight zone, that we're going to
Okay,
blend
all right.
realities and we're going to bend realities.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm switching it up a little bit. Yes,
Okay.
I was. So you see what I was doing there, right? So I
Yes,
was
sir.
repeating back the last 1 to 3 words with an inquisitive tone. Now you can do this with a lower tone. That's not going to be a question. It could be more of an assertive or affirmative. So you could say, I'm learning about solar and communication. Okay, yeah, and communication. So, or I'm happy today because I'm going to eat lasagna with my wife. You're gonna eat lasagna with your wife, with your wife. So there's different ways you can do it, but if you go up, and Zachary Bach trained on this 2 weeks ago, and that training was amazing. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. Zachary Bach's training. Anytime you go up in your inflection, that's a question. That's a question. That's a question. That's a question. See the difference? Down, up, down, up. Okay. So mirrors is repeating back the last 1 to 3 words, no more than 5. Okay. Because if not, we're getting into summary. All right. So, and it can be from anywhere in the conversation. And again, this takes practice, guys. And this is why I want you to take one of these techniques and apply it in your day, every day. Start with one. Once you start seeing the results and you start seeing how people actually open up to you and trust you and their body language, it's kind of like having a superpower. And Christopher Voss says this a lot. He talks about bending reality. And that's what we're doing. We're setting frames. We're playing chess with the energy of people and the hormones that they release, right? So it is kind of bending reality, which is trippy, and I love it. And it's a power, right? So it's a tool. It can be used for good and it can be used for harm. I think everyone on here would agree with me that we're using this for good. We're making the world a better place. We're not using this to be manipulative. We're not using this to hurt anyone else. We're using this to allow people to have a mirror to make the right decision in the least amount of time based off of what they want to do, not what we want to do. So I want to make that very clear. Okay. Because as Jim Bunch said, these are powerful techniques, right? We're messing with reality. So that's a big responsibility. Again, the downward inflection indicates understanding. It's 1 to 3 words. And then the inquisitive one is going up and not mirroring your body language or feelings too. So we always want to be aware visually, auditorily, even hormones come into play and the way we smell things. I was listening to a Andrew Huberman podcast, and he was talking about how our olfactory system plays a huge role in the way that we feel our moods, how we process people. It's fascinating stuff. All right, let me move on. Let's talk about dynamic silence. I'm going to try to breeze through some of this. And if anything, maybe we can do another training. Dynamic silence is what I was talking about earlier, right? So it's the process of using silence as a tool to give your counterpart the opportunity to respond to the other skill you just used. So when you set a label, you want to drop it like a microphone, right? Drop it for a couple seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Because the other person is processing, they're slowing down, right? So it's very important. Silence is awkward. If you count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 in your head, and the other side, hasn't said anything, that rarely ever happens. Usually they will. So if your counterpart seems frustrated, let me give you an example, but he's not saying anything, use a label that might say, it seems like there's something that's really bothering you. And then you follow that up with dynamic silence. So you count to 10 silently so you can let that label really hit, if that makes sense. And that's why a lot of people step on their labels with the ands, the buts, the ors, so that's what I mean when I say be careful with those words when you're using this specific type of technique. Paraphrasing. So it's kind of like a mirror, what we were just saying, except you're speaking in your own voice. So you use this technique at any time to make sure that your counterpart knows that you're actually listening and that you're on the same page. So for example, let's say that you sell business software. Okay. Your counterpart speaks for 5 minutes, outlining their legacies, organizations, need for digital transformation, yada, yada, yada. You might paraphrase and you might say something like, though you're doing well, you think you could be doing much better if you modernized your process. So it shows them that you're in the conversation with them and you're making it your own. So you had to have been paying attention if you made it your own. Okay. A summary, it's a comprehensive synopsis of the entire conversation that you've had up until that time. So at a very basic level, it's the sum of two parts, labels and paraphrasing, essentially. You're telling the entire story from their perspective, not your perspective. This is huge. You want them to feel like you understand and that they say, that's right. You want a, that's right. You don't want a, you're right. So that's right lets them know and lets you know that they understand and that you understand them. If they say you're right, that's their way of telling you to shut up. Okay. So you always want to aim for a that's right, not a you're right. Because remember, if they're putting you first, they're putting the attention on you and sort of saying, yeah, you're right. You're right. You have the attention. It's all you, even though they're not agreeing with that. Right. So just be aware of that. You want to get them to say that's right. Not you're right. It's a 2 millimeter shift, really. So how do you know when you've discovered it, when they say that's right? Because we want to know what matters to them. So why is nothing without how. So anyone can say yes. I'm sorry. Yes is nothing without how. A lot of times we have different kinds of yeses. We have counterfeit yeses. We have consolidated and confirmation yeses. I want to talk about calibrated questions first before I get into the yeses. These are used to shape what your counterpart thinks. Okay, these are questions which it's impossible to give a one-word answer, right? So these are open-ended questions that begin with what, how, and sometimes why. Be very careful with why, because why is an accusatory statement. Okay, so why is not always, I try to stay away from why. And I've really noticed a difference in my communication with people. Okay, so let's do an example. Your counterpart proposes a deal that's just not very reasonable for you. You can already see flaws in the proposed timeline, in the pipeline. Using a calibrated question, you might respond, what happens if we get off track? So they can't say yes, they can't say no. They have to give you the goods. They have to let you know, they have to think about it. All right. So that's where a calibrated question would really come into place. And this blends in a little bit with Jeremy Miner's NEPQ, situation questions, consequence questions, and that's a whole nother world, right? And I'm enjoying learning all these things and trying to mix it into one world to where we can all use this together and have better communication, not only in business, but with our family, with our friends, and just lead better lives, right? And that's kind of the mission here in Powur. iMessages. So iMessages are when you need to draw a line in the sand or take a step back from like a really bad dynamic. Like someone's in your grill, they're talking you up, like they're being rude to you. What do? You want to be professional. You don't want to lash out at them, but you're on your last leg. You're almost about to like blow up. So with an iMessage, what you can do is you say it's a 3-part process. So when you do, and then you put in their counterproductive thing, I feel like, because. So an example could say, let's say your counterpart's yelling at you. You might say, when you raise your voice, I feel though we're never gonna get the deal done because we're not making any progress. So I feel, because. So that 3-step process is going to be able to get your emotions, get your side out, have you stand your ground in a nice way, because you're putting the attention back on them. Right. So we're trying to focus on them. It's not about us. And that's what sales is. We're here to help people, right? We're here to really find their needs. So in order to do that, we have to focus on them. And I've fallen victim to this a lot, making it all about me. I did this, I did that, and yada, yada, yada. It's the me show, right? And that's part of my ego that I'm working on. I don't do it consciously, but I'm catching myself now with these techniques, and it's night and day. It's night and day. Okay. Encouragers. So you always want to be engaged with the person, even if you're not saying anything. Your eye contact, your body language, little things like that. We register all of those things. So you avoid the fate of, are you still there? Hello? We don't want our clients to say that, right? So a simple form of acknowledgments could just be nodding your head. right? We're just nodding our head saying, oh, really? Tell me more. Little things like that, encouragers, to encourage them to open up, to share whatever's on their mind, whatever they're upset about, little encouragers. The rule of three. Okay. So yes doesn't always mean yes. And in the Black Swan method, they actually talk against using yes. And it's more about using no-oriented questions, right? So you want to get someone to say yes 3 times. I'm not going to go too much into this because I want to get to those no-oriented questions, but I could say, John, you want to come to the beach with me tomorrow? Yeah. All right. See you tomorrow. Boop. Next day, John, where you at? Yeah, I couldn't make it, because he gave me 1 yes, right? So that's the counterfeit yes. We can do 2 yeses. John, you want to go to the beach tomorrow? Yeah, cool. 9 o'clock. All right. By the way, do you need me to bring anything for us? No, we're good. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock on the beach. Yeah, okay, see you there. So that's 1 step closer. We're trying to find the strength of the commitment and how committed they are to the decision that they say they're taking. So 3 yeses is a very strong commitment. 2 yeses, it's stronger than 1. And then 1, you don't really know, right? So yes is nothing without how. So if he says, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Cool. Hey, how are you getting there, by the way? If he didn't have a plan of actually going to the beach, he's not going to be thinking about how he's going to get there. So keep that in mind. Here we go. So no oriented questions. And this is one that all of you can use right now. How many people here, and be honest, when you call someone, you say, hey, do you have a few minutes to talk? You can drop 1 or you can just come off mute. I know I do this all the time, or I did this all the time.
I just start talking. And that's the one thing I do. I don't even ask a lot of times.
Okay. So what's happening is that whenever we're going for a yes question, we've been bombarded with yeses, right? Every single book, and a ton of these books that I have back here is all about getting to yes and yes and yes. And that's counterproductive because we're wired to say no. We're wired to avoid things. Like we're 3 times more wired to say no than yes, right? Because when you say yes, you're agreeing to something. Hey, you got a quick second? Yeah, what's up? As opposed to if I were to say, hey, you got a quick second? No, actually, I don't. How much easier is it for us to say no? Or are we saying in our minds when someone calls us, like we're thinking, no, I don't have a second, actually. Yeah, no. Instead of yes. So yes is creating a commitment. We don't like that. We want to feel safe. We feel safe. We feel powerful when we say no. A kid comes right in. Oh, Daddy, can I? No. Wait, what did you want? Well, no, for what did you, So we're just wired to say no first. Can you give me this? Hey, Bill Conley, can you give me a ride to the airport after the Powur World? Would that?
In my new Lucid Air Touring EV?
Beautiful,
of course I
bro.
can.
Dude, thank you so much. I saw the pictures on Facebook. Congratulations. If anyone deserves it, it's you. So how does this sound? Hey, Bill, would it be out of the question to ask for a ride to the airport tomorrow?
Well, since you asked in that manner, Ramsey, how can I say no?
Yeah. So what felt easier? Me saying, hey, Bill, can you give me a ride? Can you give me a ride?
It's a little presumptuous. It's a little bit invasive.
And that's why these no-oriented questions work so well, because they're taking into consideration the other person and the ask, and they're not making it about themselves. They're being conscientious about that. And that really translates. It's just so easy to say no. So today, when you call someone, and you will, I want you to call anyone. And if you haven't called someone, just call a friend. Hey, Chris, well, hey, how's it going? Is now a bad time to talk? And see what they say. If they say, yes, it is a bad time to talk, they're going to tell you why. So you're extracting information without being pushy, without being presumptive, without being insensitive to people. So you're playing the sensitive game by understanding these tools and techniques and when to apply them.
All right, well, maybe it was.
And man, I don't think I'm going to be able to get through everything. So if you want, take some pictures of these things, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Time is valuable. So I'm going to go through some of these slides if you want to take screenshots and use these in your everyday life. I'm sorry, I went a little bit over. You're going to think I'm an amateur. You're probably saying this guy doesn't, even have his stuff together. So right there, that was an accusation audit. You're probably going to think that I'm okay. Here's an accusation audit is when you recognize negatives up front. It's kind of like 8 Mile. Get that picture in your head. 8 Mile. He says all his dirty clothes. He throws it out. What do they have left to say? Nothing. Now, when you incorporate this into business, what happens is that people feel heard and understood and they trust, right? So that's the name of the game. We're looking for trust, collaboration. We want to clear the other mind, and we want to do that quickly, right? Because time is money. So these are powerful tools for empathy, and they're statements that allow you to acknowledge any feelings or concerns that the other person might have without necessarily agreeing with them. So for example, if the other person accuses you of being uncooperative, you might say something like, it sounds like you feel I'm not being cooperative as you'd like me to be. This shows that you understand their perspective, and that can help build the trust and rapport. So they'll be like, yeah, that's actually what I feel like. And then the conversation, the dialogue starts, right? So it's almost like therapy. Okay. This goes back into why accusation audits, 2 minutes. I'm going to try to give you guys the goodies. If you would like, take a picture of this. Or would you guys be against taking a picture of this? So that's a no-oriented question. Okay,
Can you send us like these slides to our emails or no?
You know what? Let's do that. I'm gonna send this slide to JC, and I don't know how to send them all, but I'll give it to him, and maybe he can post it somewhere and share it. Or if anything,
would it be a bad idea to send out the slides?
I worked hard to copy all these slides here, Ramsey.
that was great. That was a good no-oriented question.
Yes.
It would not be a bad idea. Proof of life. Sometimes you want to use why. Okay, so why could be in a situation. Well, why go with me and Powur? You know, why Powur? That's a specific situation where you can use why, where it doesn't come off condescending, right? You want to uncover the other party's underlying emotions. Tone is crucial. Again, practice this stuff. Get into it. Look up YouTube videos. That's what I've been doing. Let me see what else we have in here. Take some of these, guys. Take a picture of this. I'm just going to be straight with you because I know we're at the hour, so I want to be respectful. And I'll send these out to anyone who messages me as well. I will shoot these with pleasure. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Ramsey.
Yes, sir.
Your contact information are you referring to like email or like a telephone, cell phone?
If you want, I'm going to drop my information in the chat bar, guys. Feel free to send me an email.
Absolutely.
And that might make it easier.
Thanks, Ramsey.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for being such a great interactive audience and family. This is what it's about, right? I was so nervous today. I was like, man, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to do a good job. All right.
Ramsey, it seems like you're always positive.
Ah!
You killed it. You killed it. You did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. And if you guys want to know more, again, buy the book, Never Split the Difference. The Edge is a free newsletter that they give that I subscribe to as well. So this is all the praise goes to Christopher Voss and his Black Swan method. I'm just a person that's learning it, and I thought I'd share it with you guys today. So thank you very much for your time.
We did an outstanding job. Thank you very much, Ramsey. It was great to be on the call with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ramsey, as always, your authenticity is the most engendering and leadership thing, as well as all the other leadership qualities you're developing and bringing. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. JC, would you want me to close it or you want to close it out?
Go ahead and close it out, brother. You did an incredible job, bro.
Okay. Thank you very much. Again, friends, feel free to message me, reach out. I'm here to serve and support, and hopefully I can instill that in you to do the same for other people, and we can make this world a better place. So have a great day, and let's go get it. Let's win.
Thank you.
Go team.
Woo!
Thank you, Ramsey.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you.